The previous 27 races held at the Circuit de Catalunya, 24 have been won from the front row. Welcome along to qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix. The light goes green then, and we are off for the first part of qualifying. Fernando Alonso's on track. Fernando Alonso, Martin Brundle often pulls out something special at a Spanish Grand Prix.
Yeah, Fernando is always hustling the car through the apex of a corner, carrying a bit of extra speed and just sorting it out. A big day for McLaren. They've brought some updates. One of those two cars has to be in the top 10, the final Q3, top 10 shootout, if they're going to feel any kind of improvement, any kind of step forward. Kimi Raikkonen that's really dialing in some sector times. He's in the last sector now.
Kimi, whose run of front row starts this season came to an end in Baku, but he's on a 1:17.4. That's the fastest time so far, and Lewis Hamilton can't beat it. A 1:17.6 for him, just a couple of tenths back, or 1.5 tenths back in the Mercedes. Sebastian Vettel on an absolute flyer on this particular lap, and he crosses the line now by half a second, the fastest time, a 1:17.0. Oh, what's happened there? That sounded a bit nasty at the back of the car for Hulkenberg.
Sounded like a box full of neutrals, and then
it reset itself.
It's gearbox, isn't it? Gearbox problem.
Just as he went to start his lap there, Nico Hulkenberg, it did sound like a gearbox issue. Van Dorn now, who set a personal best in the middle sector, trying to leapfrog the Renault driver, who is very much at risk of getting knocked out in Q1 here. Problems for Renault. They've struggled with one lap pace all weekend long. Can the new upgrade package and the Renault engine on the McLaren make things a little worse for them? Oh, yeah, they can. Stoffel Van Dorn is ahead of Hulkenberg, and Lance Stroll is out of qualifying.
Never seen a Formula One car crash like that on the exit of turn 12. They've got nothing to lose in terms of it's his last lap of Q1. He was a long way wide.
And took quite a bit of the advertising boards with him as well there. That is not where you want to end a qualifying session. This man has been out-qualified by Carlos Sainz for the first time this year. And this man, Marcus Ericsson, once again misses out on Q2 and will have to wait at least another race longer to reach the second part of qualifying. We're on board now with Lewis Hamilton on a flying lap. So you'd expect him to be above the two Hasses, but by how big a margin? And if Ferrari are sandbagging and Mercedes sandbagging as well, and what could the time be? Hamilton with a 1:17.1.
Half second quicker than his Q1 time. Mighty. What
about Valtteri Bottas, who has set the fastest first sector and a pretty good middle sector too, and he crosses the line with a 1:17.11 ahead of his teammates and goes fastest overall until Kimi Raikkonen says, no, we'll have some of this as well, by 4/100ths of a second. Raikkonen gets in on the action, and then Sebastian Vettel thinks, yeah, I just want to go into the 1:16s and I want to be on my own for a while, and puts in the fastest time overall. Right, so back then to Carlos Sainz. Romain Grosjean's gone off the track, carried on his way at turn 7. Carlos Sainz is in the top 10 at the moment, and he's gone 9th, pushes Fernando Alonso down to 10th. Can Alonso now put himself into a little bit more clearer daylight? So Stoffel Van Dorn only 11th fastest. Alonso doesn't improve, he's 10th fastest. Who can stop Fernando Alonso? Can this man stop him? Sergio Perez from getting into the top 10? No, he can't. Perez 15th fastest, slowest in the qualifying 2 session. His teammate Esteban Ocon is out on the track but not going quick enough to warrant a place in the top 10. Pierre Gasly just missed out, and Fernando Alonso gets in then to the final part of qualifying ahead of his teammate Stoffel Van Dorn, and the gap was about 0.2 of a second. Final part, pole position shootout here in Spain. Could Ferrari get their 4th consecutive pole position?
And how close can Red Bull get? And can the Haas team get amongst the Red Bulls like they're threatening to do?
Ricciardo to the line there. Grosjean and Sainz eclipse with a 1:16.8. That is very good indeed. Hamilton flying behind Daniel Ricciardo has gone purple for both first and middle sector. That's the fastest so far. Verstappen goes ahead of his teammate by 4/100ths of a second. They really are starting to turn up the revs now. And Hamilton, as I say, on an absolute flyer, and crucially a lot faster than Kimi Raikkonen, who goes 3rd fastest, or Sebastian Vettel as well. Hamilton crosses the line. Provisional pole is his. 1:16.4. Can Sebastian Vettel respond? Look how far Vettel is down, by about 0.7 of a second.
How's it working out for Kimi?
Kimi Räikkönen now completes his, goes second fastest with a 1:16.6. He was off the front row in Baku. He's back on the front row for the time being now. Hamilton crosses the line and Lewis Hamilton goes even faster, is on provisional pole.
Bottas is right there, right with him.
Can he stop him? Valtteri Bottas, can he get onto pole position? By 4/100ths of a second, he misses out. It's Mercedes locking out the front row, though, at the moment.
Vettel's matched the first and second sectors of the Mercedes, though.
Sebastian Vettel rounds the final corner. He was on the front row last year to Lewis Hamilton. Can he get back on the front row now? No, he can't. It's third fastest for Sebastian Vettel. Daniel Ricciardo trying to improve from 6th place on the grid. He can't do that and is out qualified by Max Verstappen for the third time this year, and Lewis Hamilton is back on pole position. The man who was on pole in Australia is now on pole here in Barcelona.
Nice work, Lewis. Well done, mate. So that's P1. Got Valtteri next to us, so it's the front row.
And where Ferrari showed the early pace, Mercedes had the pace where it counted the most in Q3. It's Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, rows 1, 2 and 3, with Magnussen and Alonso, neither of whom I'd suggest are going to yield in any way, shape or form going into turn 1, occupying row 4, and Sainz and Grosjean on the 5th row.